After 9/11, the masses of people in New York needing grief and loss counseling was immense. Fortunately, FDNY counseling services sought out specialists who could help people on a large scale by speaking to families privately in their homes and also at Ground Zero. One of these specialists was San Diego's very own Dr. Ken Druck. Dr. Druck is a best-selling author, speaker, an expert in healing after loss, and is the recipient of the Distinguished Contribution to Psychology Award. Ken's work has helped shape our worldview of what it means to live honorably with integrity after a tragedy. We are beyond grateful to have him here with us today. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Ken Druck.
Can you all hear me out there? Have I got you back there? Over there, okay. We're all together, one voice. First off, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this great event, honoring the firefighters, the first responders who've given their lives and have given their service to all of us. As one who has been called upon after some of our nation's worst tragedies, some of my proudest moments are in the pit at Ground Zero, working with the fathers of firefighters who had perished on 9/11, being asked to lead some of the first town hall meetings in New York after 9/11, and doing that, working with the Fire Department of New York Counseling Services Unit, and visiting almost every fire station in the New York area, facilitating support groups, ongoing support groups, workshops, and trainings after 9/11 in New York and right here in California. I'm here today to talk to you about the core elements of healing, support, and self-care. You see, many of us, especially firefighters, are taught extreme self-reliance. And this is a good thing. But because of this, the least used four-letter word in the English language for firefighters is the one that starts with the letter H, help. And so is it any wonder that firefighters and their families often don't know that it's not only okay to ask for help when tragedy strikes, it's one of the ways that we honor the fallen. Yes, allowing ourselves to receive the support as the shock wears off and reality sets in, healing our own shattered hearts, fighting our way back into this life is one of the ways that we honor them. Healing has a life and timetable all its own for each one of us. During a program I gave in New York after 9/11, a program I gave for the brothers of firefighters and their spouses, I learned just how important it is to learn how to give and to receive support. You see, one of the couples that was in attendance that day was a 39-year-old firefighter and his wife. He had gone into the second tower with his brother and survived. His brother never made it out. Hobbling into the workshop on crutches, wearing a cast on her foot, the wife sat down. When his wife sat down, it came her turn to introduce herself. And she pointed to her husband, whose head was bowed, and she complained, "Look at him. It's been 3 months. When's he going to stop moping around the house and get back to work?" After a long pause, I told her that I wanted to help her, but first she would need to do something for me. "Ma'am, please put down your crutches. I want you to run as fast as you can to that wall and back. Right now. Go. Throw the crutches down. Do it." "Are you crazy?" she responded. "Ma'am, your husband is walking with a limp in his heart. He has suffered a broken heart the kind that takes a lifetime to heal. Well, he is going to need your love, your support, understanding, and patience. For that firefighter and others who suffered unspeakable losses, there's a lesson. The lesson is embedded in what I call the code of honor. Fighting your way back into life, summoning the courage to live out the rest of our lives as an expression of our love, not of our despair, I told him, is the way to honor your brother. And he looked at me and he nodded. Looking up at me for the first time that day, leaning over to hug his wife, and nodding a thank you with his eyes to me that I'll never forget. Well, on my desk is a picture of his brother and other fallen firefighters. One that I brought today, sometimes I just bring one randomly. This is of George Kane that his family gave to me. Along with the American flag that framed and was given to me by the Fire Department in New York in recognition of my service, helping families find the strength, courage, and faith to go on after 9/11 and tragedies like Columbine, Sandy Hook, Boston, Las Vegas, and so on, has been a way of honoring my own daughter, Jenna, who died tragically at age 21 while studying abroad. Without the love and support of my family and friends, and my own willingness to get help when I needed it, I would not be standing in front of you today. And without these things, our firefighters and first responders and others who work in life and death situations every single day can slip into a crippling darkness. When we are man or woman enough to ask for help and download the software for support and professional grade self-care, we learn the following. We learn that we're all human, vulnerable, and breakable. We learn that we're also resilient. It's in our DNA, and we're capable of healing after even the worst losses and traumas. What else do we learn? We learn that grieving a loss, including a living loss, and you know what a living loss is, nobody's died, but we've suffered a loss, our heart's broken, an estranged family member, somebody who's strung out, somebody who's depressed, somebody who's been deployed. But we learn that grieving a loss is as natural as bleeding when you're cut. Grief is normal and natural, and we need to allow it to take its course. We learned that none of us gets through this alone. Asking for and getting help takes great courage and humility. That shame and fear are the enemies of emotional healing. When we feel shame, it shuts us down. We're too embarrassed to say, hey, this is a moment in my life that I need to reach out to you for help. When we make love, not despair, the central organizing principle of our lives, we live forward, not backwards. I also learned that paradox is a very high form of understanding the truth. We can be both broken and whole. People look at me and they say, I can't imagine what it was like to lose a daughter. And they say, I can see that you still feel it. Yes, I walk with a limp in my heart, and there's a brokenness there. The fact that my daughter didn't get to live out her life breaks my heart. But I'm perhaps more whole than ever. I'm broken and whole. The wholeness that grows out of our brokenness is something we need not to be ashamed of. Finally, navigating our way out of darkness takes great courage and patience, humility, and self-compassion. We're all a work in progress, and we go one breath at a time, don't we? That workshop in New York after 9/11 combined laughter, tears, love, trust, honesty, and newfound awareness. Sharing our stories helped unburden our sorrows, normalize what all of us have been going through, and find hope. At the very end of that day, a bereaved father poked his nose in the room looking for his wife. A woman on the side said, "Sir, I wish you had been here with us today." Like some of you are going to go home today and say, I wish you had come to the stair climb to be able to feel what I'm feeling right now. He looked at the woman as he looked into our room, our workshop room, and he said, "Nah, no thanks, ma'am. I know how this stuff works. Misery loves company." And he pulled back. After a moment of silence, a woman who had not said a word all day stood up, looked directly at this man in the eyes, and said, "No, sir. Hope loves company." Hope loves company, my button, became the watchword of our work in New York all those years. And looking around at all of you today, as I get ready to climb, as we get ready to climb, it's as true today as it was in 2001. Hope loves company. I want to say a special thanks to those who've made this glorious day possible. Carly, Jacelyn, the firefighter aid team, and the volunteers here today. I want to thank you. And bless you, our firefighters and first responders, our heroes. We will forever remember and be eternally grateful to you for your service. Let's all rise up together out of the ashes of sorrow, summon our courage, our resilient strength, our resilient spirit and gratitude, and honor the fallen by climbing in the spirit of greater possibilities today. I thank you.